Chapter 3, A Courageously Confrontational School Culture. Educators hate fights. When a fight happens, it's violent. But school violence is more than physical and verbal in nature. Schools throughout the U.S. will operate and feel different if white educators abhorred and confronted the violence of racism and white supremacy as much as they abhor the violence of Black students fighting. In chapter 3 of my book, Stuck Improving, I argue that the best approach to challenging all forms of school-based violence is the cultivation and maintenance of a courageously confrontational school culture. In this video, I explain what a courageously confrontational school culture is and why it's important for all educators who are committed to making schools more racially equitable and affirming for students of color. My name is Decoteau. I'm a parent, educator, musician, and author of several books. When I refer to equitable change in schools, I look for two things that are different sides of the same coin. First, conventional practices and patterns that harm people of color are made visible and disrupted. Second, new practices are adopted that expand and improve people of color's learning opportunities, experiences, and outcomes. Courageous confrontation refers to individual and collective practices of directly addressing episodes, events, incidents, and interactions of racism and wrongdoing with the same seriousness as you'd use to address a physical fight. Courageous confrontation demands critiquing racist ideas, behaviors, and social structures that harm Black and brown students. Being courageously confrontational is an essential part of creating educational equity. So what does this look like? A courageously confrontational school has three routine characteristics. First, people confront problems head on. When I was in middle school, if you got into a physical fight, the teachers and administrators dealt with it head on. I know because I was in my fair share of fights. Now that I research and study schools, I realize that more often than not, students fight when they feel they have no other options to establish or maintain a sense of respect. The general feeling of not belonging and not having a sense of where to go or who to turn to for support is itself violent. That's what educators need to address. Second, people default to racism and racial socialization as central, but not a singular, lens for making sense of school-based problems. Most people, especially white people, assume that problems people of color experience are not about race. This is where we get the idea of pulling the race card. Well, educators in courageously confrontational schools keep the race card on the table until there's a compelling reason or evidence to take it off. Third, people understand that although it doesn't always feel like it, conflict and confrontation are actually opportunities to learn. Learning from and through conflict offers the opportunity to at minimum acknowledge and at best to forgive, heal, and accept responsibility for the wrongs that people experience in their school communities. How does this relate to equity improvement in schools? As a reminder, I refer to equitable changes as ones that disrupt conventional practices and patterns that harm people of color and that expand and improve people of color's learning opportunities, experiences, and outcomes. Conventional schools have either congenial or collegial cultures. In congenial cultures, people put on a front of being nice and getting along. In collegial cultures, people are supportive and collaborative. And the sense of support and collaboration ensure that people get along. But neither of these are transformative. For Black and Brown students, getting along isn't good enough. They need and deserve an intolerance for the status quo and a sense of urgency for transformation. You know, similar to how people feel the need to address and stamp out acts of physical violence. There you have it. Courageously confrontational school culture. What it is, why it matters, and a few tips for how you can help your school become more intolerant of racial violence. If you haven't already done so, I encourage you to purchase and read my book, Stuck Improving. In it, I dedicate a full chapter to explain courageously confrontational school culture and how it works to create a more racially equitable organization. If you found this information useful, please pass it along to others who may appreciate it. You can also find a downloadable PDF of this information on my website, stuckimproving.com. Until next time, stay in the struggle and remember that progress is possible and so is a more equitable world.